Yo,
Let's do it.
what is going on?
I feel like there's a little glitch. I was like, oh, what just happened there? But no,
Okay.
all right.
So you got the Buckeyes hat on. Got big game against
I mean,
Tennessee.
like the reality of the matter is, I think it's a game they can win. Ohio State. I think it's a game Ohio State can win because I feel like Tennessee and Michigan are almost identical teams, right? I think Tennessee's better than Michigan. Tennessee's definitely better than Michigan. But
I would say Tennessee has a better passing game for sure.
yeah, they are like it is they're the exact same team. It's just that with Michigan being like a C minus, Tennessee's like a B plus. You know what I mean? Like, but they're like schematically everything. They're very very similar.
Yeah, they're
Especially
both.
especially on defense. Like
Yeah,
you
they
are.
both have a good defensive line.
Yep.
So
Ohio State will not be running against them. So as long
they they
and
can't.
yeah, and the DBs and the outside defense for Tennessee is no bueno. No, everyone
Yeah,
who's beat them this year, that's how they've done it. So as long as old Chippy Boy and Ryan don't get in the way,
I
and
don't know, man.
they attack the sidelines, they attack the peripheral.
It's winnable, but
It's
yeah.
winnable.
Anyway,
Who's a what's it? We're here to talk about some ultra running and some
that's
news,
right.
and
That's
some
right.
lotteries.
This isn't a college football podcast, although we are college football fans.
It's like a
But
trillion of this.
let's I do want to follow up, and I need to get my screen share ready. I know we talked about the lottery before the lottery, and then we went live um on Saturday morning during the lottery, so we had like a over 2 hour episode there. But I just want to recap because I Run Far came out with some really good articles on the top, people that got in through the lottery, and also just the top people returning to Western States and Hard Rock, and other top people that got in for other reasons. I thought it was kind of interesting. So, all in all, there was 9,994 applicants, and that was for a total of 369 spots on the start line. Some of those are filled in advance. We already know that. There's other avenues for people to get in. One of the avenues is top 10 from the previous year. So for the women, Katie Scheid is not accepting her entry back into Western States, which really opens it up. I don't think Courtney's running Western States this year, so really it could be anybody's game. But Fu Zhao Cheng and Esther Seelig, Emily Hawgood, Ida Nielsen, Heather Jackson, Rachel Drake, who's been really strong lately,
Yeah.
Priscilla Forgy, and Leah Yingling. They're all coming back from the top 10 from last year. So
Why? Do we know why? I feel like we heard, but I can't remember. Why is Katie Scheid not taking hers?
she's going to Hard Rock this year.
Yeah, that's right. I was like, wait, why? I got feel dumb for asking you this. Like, we literally just talked about it on.
Well, I mean, she could do the double. She could do the double, right? I mean, Courtney did the double, and added UTMB.
Katie. What are we even talking about here, Katie? Let's do it.
You want to cement your legacy? You got to do the double.
Fucking grip it and rip it. Let's go.
That's right. And then for the men, I was a little surprised that Walmsley is coming back. So he is coming back to defend his title. Now, Rod Farvard and Hayden Hawks really put the pressure on Walmsley last year. So I feel like even though he's still a heavy favorite, I feel like there's some cracks in the armor. I feel like
for Walmsley,
people can give him a run. Like, Farvard was just less than 11 minutes behind him. So, and really, Farvard led for a lot of it.
As I say, and really, to that point, yes, Walmsley won by 11. But like you were just about, like you were wrapping up there. Like it wasn't until pretty late in the race where Wamsley's probably like, all right, you know what? Done playing this game, and like hammered it, So it is interesting to see what Farvar can do. It'll be, and like here's what's crazy: like you got all of the top 5 coming back in the mid.
Yeah,
like
Hayden,
it is.
and Hayden Hawks is like on his game, dude.
Yeah.
I just heard AJW's podcast, or one of his podcasts. He was talking about, and this was in October, I think. But he's like, if I had to vote for Ultra Run of the Year right now, it's going to be Hayden Hawks.
Just for being an old badass.
Yeah, well, he won CCC.
Yeah.
He had a sprint finish for podium at Western States, and he won Black Canyon like in a pretty dominating fashion.
Yeah.
So Dan Jones, the Kiwi, solid runner. Caleb Olson, but Jonathan Albin and Tyler Green are not returning. Jishang Shen, another solid runner. I mean, Jishang Shen ran a 15:09 and was 8th place at Western States. John Ray, that guy, he can catch fire. Chris Myers, he's young and up and coming. So, and he was 15:18 in 10th place.
Yeah.
So I really feel like Walmsley could get challenged, but he's definitely the favorite.
Something just popped into my head. I want to go look at, and you may know this off the top of your head, so I'll ask while I look. But do you happen to know what the all-time what's the course record for Western States?
Yeah, Walmsley set. I think it was like 14:0. Is it 14:08 maybe?
That's what I'm trying to. 14:09.28.
Okay.
Okay. So this brings my question right here. You ready?
Yeah.
Mark the day and time. It is 9:17 Eastern Standard. It is December the 11th. Are you? I'm posing this question. Can a runner get get lower than the 14-hour mark on Western States?
Damn.
But look at the depth that's in there this year. You know what I mean? Like, look at the depth that's in there this year. Like, it is crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, I don't know. I just have this weird feeling, man. Like, you got, I mean, just that top 5 is ridiculous.
It is. And wait till you see some of the other runners that are in through other means.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane, the people who are in that race this year.
Yeah. It will be exciting. And so there's golden ticket races.
Yeah.
And a couple of them have happened already, like CCC at, the UTMB 100K, CCC. Yeah. Javelina happened. That's a Javelina 100 mile, and Tarawera 100K, and the Chianchi Ultra 120K. But so far, I think it's Javelina and CCC that have taken place.
Yeah.
And these are the women that have gotten in so far through golden tickets. Hannah Allgood, Riley Brady, which is non-binary but competes in the women's category, and Riley has just been tearing it up. Riley won Javelina in the women's category. Rosanna Bouchard from Germany, Halha, Vietnam, Martina Mlerchik, and from Poland. They got in through CCC, so some strong female runners there. And then or runners in the female category. And then for the men, Peter Franyo, Slovakia, CCC, Adam Peterman, CCC. Adam Peterman, he's coming back from his injury. He's fast as fuck.
Yep.
He
Here comes my sleeper right here.
Well, this is the one that I was also gonna say. Like David Roche, who never he got in through Javelina. He set the course record at Javelina and set the course record at Leadville. Broke a course record that stood for like 19 years or something.
Yeah. Yep.
And so Leadville was his first 100.
Yeah.
And Javelina was his second. So he won both of his first 100-mile races, and they're high-profile 100-mile races too. Not only did he win, he set course records.
Yeah, he has fresh legs.
Yeah,
he's coming. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, man, it is going to be. I mean, it's obviously way too soon, right? Like we don't know what the snow. Like it's just now, December, right? And so I don't know. I'm sure they've started getting snow up there in Tahoe and stuff like that.
They have.
For sure they have, right? Obviously. Yeah. So
there's been one major snowstorm that came through and dumped a bunch. There's some more snow coming this weekend.
So it depends on what the snowpacks are like, right? But like, dude, it could be, and like, obviously like the temperatures and all that kind of stuff. But man, oh man, like I just like question. My first question is, can 14 hours be broke at Western States? I'm sure it can. I'm sure at some point it will be. But is it at all possible that this is the year that it happens with some of the folks that's in there this year?
Man, it would take a monumental effort to go sub 14. I mean, Walmsley, when he set that record, ran a damn near flawless race. So it's gonna take somebody catching fire, but I'm not saying it couldn't happen, dude, because there's a lot of talent and they could be pushing each other pretty hard. I do think David Roche, if he runs his race, if he executes his plan, which at Leadville he finished within, I think, 5 seconds of his estimated or projected finish time. Like he executed his plan that perfectly.
Yeah.
So if he executes his plan, he could easily be in the top 5, if not better. Adam Peterman, we all know what he can do. Jeff Magavero got in through Javelina, and Haohu Zhang from China through CCC. So some more strong runners. So we still have Black Canyon. There's going to be, that's in February. Tarawera is February as well. The Chianchi Ultra is in March, and Canyon's 100K is in April. Those are the ones left for golden tickets. Fast runners with other automatic entries to Western States, Jacqueline Ferrugi, Cindy Shepard, Amber Weibel, and then for the men, Bronco Billy, Jeff Browning.
Oh, yeah.
He got in through a sponsor. Galen Ferris through raffle, Eddie Healy from the UK through raffle, and Geraldus Sabertus through race admin.
All right. Hey, Jamie.
Yep.
I'm stuck on this. I'm like a dog with a bone right now on this. A 14-hour, 9-minute, 28-second, 100-mile. Do you know what your average pace is on that? You know what your mile is on that?
That's got to be like low 8, I'm thinking.
It's 8:30.
8:30.
Okay. Do you know what a 13-hour, 59-minute 100-mile finish is?
8:29. I don't know.
8:23.
Oh, okay.
So, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's not right. Like it's not like it's like, oh, I need to shave off 30 seconds. You know what I mean? Like,
what's a 1409? If you can do that.
Well, 14:09:28. 14:09:28 was the 8:30.
Oh, okay. That's
what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I thought that was 14 flat.
So. No. Walmsley's record time was 8:30-minute miles.
So he needs to take 7 seconds per mile off.
Per mile for a whole race, yes.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it's not like it's crazy, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, you got to be able to maintain that for the whole time.
Well,
but it's not like I'm saying, hey, you know what? I need you to run a minute faster. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. It can be done, and records get broken all the time.
All the time.
I think, especially 20 years into the future, you're probably going to have to run a sub 13 to win Western States.
Could you imagine what's going to be like? Yeah.
But that's with 18,000+ feet of climbing. You
gotta hit them downhills, baby. You gotta hit them
smoke those downhills. Like 5-minute miles.
Yeah, F those quads.
Okay, so here's who got in through the lottery: Shea Aquino, Claire Banworth, Liz Canty. Liz Canty is an East Coaster. I think she might live in Colorado now, but she's an East Coaster. Tara Fraga and Melissa Ostrozewski.
There it is, baby.
Melissa did win the Saddles 2024, which is Whiskey Man's race out there in Arizona. I'm blanking on his name already. She got 5th at Wasatch, 1st at Across the Years 24-hour. So Melissa can compete.
Yeah.
Cedric Chevet, Fabio Di Canamo. I'm not really familiar with them. Johann Abermüller from Germany. Not really familiar. Drew Miller. Drew Miller ran Burning River. I wonder where he's from. He got 4th at 2021 Burning River. Anyway, on the wait list, you have Sarah Ostrozewski.
Yeah. Which I think is the faster of the two sisters, right?
She's better in the mountain races.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah. Third at High Lonesome, 1st at Cruel Jewel, 1st at Cocodona. Yeah.
And then Dan Green and Ricky win. So
yeah,
for the men. But anyways, should be a pretty exciting Western States this year. And then on the hard rock side, notable 100 men's insurance. Now the only way to get automatic entry into hard rock, I believe, is to win the race. And then you can get in the next year, I believe, through Dale's picks, but I don't really know how it works. But it does say in this I Run Far article right here, the only way to gain entry into this event, aside from the lottery, is to win the year before. So Ludo Pomeray has elected to use his entry. Here are the notable men selected to run Hard Rock 100 in 2025. David Ayala, who got 1st at I Am Tough, which is a really hard mountain race, and 2nd at Bighorn a couple of years. Matthew Blanchard, who we know is just dominant, 1st at Diagonal du Fou, which Diagonal du Fou might be harder than Hard Rock, dude. I don't know. Maybe more technical. And then Alexander Boucher from France, Brian Colmo, Kyle Curtin, who lives in Durango, who set the speed record on the Colorado Trail this summer. He's running. Tyler Fannin, Ian Ferris, Hans Gehrig, Jermaine Granger, who's really fast. Zach Miller is in this year. It'd be exciting to see what Zach can do there, because he is just a beast. Ludo, who won last year and set the record. So
I mean, when you look down through the men's who got in on the lottery, the number of guys who have first place finishes at other races, it is just like stud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just
oh
God. And like, that's a lottery. Like, that is, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's like, it's insane. Like, the people are getting in that race.
Well, if so, as we discussed on Saturday, if if they have won, or I'm sorry, if they have finished Hard Rock before, they're put into another category called veterans or whatever, and they do have a better chance of getting in than the Nevers, which I'm a part of. So for the women, Becky Bates, Stephanie Case, Katharina Hartmuth, who's really fast, second at UTMB in 2023. Whitney Mickelson, Shelby Johnson. Shelby's fast. Eliza Lapierre, another
Katie
fast.
Scheid, obviously.
And then Katie Scheid, who's going to be the favorite, without a doubt.
I mean, all right, so that's an interesting comment. You said that with a lot of certainty. Do you believe? Is she?
Oh, yeah. She got first at UTMB, first at Western States. I mean, she's in a league of her own. You know what would be interesting is if Courtney was running. I would love to see Courtney and Katie Scheid go head-to-head in any race, you know.
Yeah.
Now, I think Katie's really hit her stride, so it would be interesting. What do you think?
I mean, I'll tell you who. I mean, I feel like Hard Rock lines up really, 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 really good for the French and for the for the European runners coming off the technical trails in the Alps and stuff like that. Yeah. And okay, so all right, so there's that thought, right? So I have that thought, and then obviously a much, much, much lower elevation version of that. I then immediately think of people like the person who grabbed my eye on this because of a couple finishes that she has is Shelby Johnson, where I'm just like, dude, second at Grindstone, you know what I mean? And then ninth at Leadville, right? So she's not afraid of the elevation. She can do the elevation. I don't know. There's something about that. I don't know.
Anything could happen. Anything could happen.
The other one that we skipped over is, and I'm going to butcher her name, but it's Manon Collier.
Oh, yes. I did want to talk about her.
I mean, she took
first at Diagonal du Fou.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And so, like, woo.
First at Madeira Island.
First TDS.
In 2023, the Madeira Island.
Yeah,
TDS.
And in 21, TDS, yeah.
Yeah. Which is a really hard race at UTMB.
Yeah. So, like.
That's a technical race, too.
I think.
She could give a run.
Because Courtney's out, right? Courtney, well, is there any way that Courtney gets in at this point, or is it no?
Oh, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think Hard Rock.
I think it's established.
I think this is it, right? Like, I don't think Courtney. So that means. So if these are established, if these two races, if Hard Rock and
Western
States, if those are both locked in, like these are your runners.
Well, and they have wait lists, but she's not on.
Yeah, but Courtney's not on either one of those. So, like,
she doesn't have to be either for Hard Rock because she won last year. So.
Oh, yeah. So it'd be interesting.
She's not in.
Yeah. So, when's the last time that we had a year where Courtney didn't run either one of those two races?
It's been a long time.
All right. So Courtney's out, right? Courtney's out, and then of the women who's in there, I think, at least for me, right? At least for me, I feel like the next most recognizable name by a pretty substantial margin is Katie Scheid, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Now,
and Eliza Lapierre, yeah.
Do you agree, or am I just ignorant to this? After Katie Scheid, it's a fairly substantial drop off as far as like recognition goes, right? Like, or is that just me being ignorant to some of the other?
Maybe, Katharina Hartmuth. She's really good. Oh,
that's true. Dude. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
She got third at Hard Rock last year.
Yeah, that's true. We even
second at UTMB 2023.
I just think that here's where I was ultimately going with this, like, kind of rambling train of thought. I think this year could be a really fun year for, if not Katie Scheid, it could be a fun year at Hard Rock for a new woman to kind of break through. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like someone
totally.
who's like, oh, like yes, she's always been there, but like maybe doesn't get the recognition that she deserves. Like
Oh
it could
yeah,
possibly be that year, which I think is kind of fun.
absolutely, man. I fully believe that because I would say more so at Hard Rock, things can go sideways just because of
Fast,
the altitude.
fast, like 50
Yeah,
mile, 50 mile mark. I'm on top of the world. 100K mark. I want to
yeah.
die.
I
I
mean,
just
look what happened to Courtney the year that Sabrina Stanley won at Hard Rock. Courtney, about halfway through, she got major stomach issues, man.
yeah,
Couldn't get it under control, and I fully believe the altitude had a lot to do with that. It sucks the electrolytes right out of your body, man. Like, and you
yeah,
don't even know it. It's so
yeah,
dry, your sweat
yep,
evaporates, everything evaporates. You just know that you feel thirsty as hell, but in all the water in the world doesn't quench that thirst.
no,
But
no,
you're
yeah,
losing electrolytes at the same time, so it's like it's a hard balance at altitude. But yeah, should be interesting. I mean, Katie Scheid, just like Western States with Walmsley, I would say Katie's the heavy favorite, but anything can happen, man. And
yeah,
there's a couple of women in here that can easily give her a run, no doubt.
yeah.
Especially Collier and Hartmouth, and yeah, they can. Both of them could give her a run. Even that Shelby Johnson, like you mentioned, Notable waitlisted men with at least a remote chance of getting in. Jeff Rome, who was fourth in 2024 this year. Luke J., Benjamin Buckland, and then Arlen Glick, Ohio's.
Arlen Glick,
Oh,
Ohio's very
Arlen.
own.
Arlen got fourth at the 2023 Hard Rock.
Yeah. It's
So,
funny to see, like, and this is the other thing. Like, this is kind of the same. This is the funny thing that cracks me up about Hard Rock. I feel like only at Hard Rock do you see like your fourth place person is like, suck it. Here's the wait list. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah.
Like that. God, like
Right.
no love.
Yeah. No kidding, man. It's like they don't care how good of a runner you are.
No.
Yeah. And then here's some of the fast women on the wait list. Kaori Niwa from Japan. Tara Dower.
Yeah.
Who we're going to talk about a little bit later in the show.
Yeah.
Addie Bracey, Emily Halnon, Celinda Heinel. Should be interesting.
Good year.
Courtney declined her entry, it said here. So
interesting.
The runners that Dale Garland picked was Matthew Blanchard, that Manon Bahard Collier that we just talked about, Jermaine Granger, Katharina Hartmouth, Zach Miller, and Katie Scheid. Pretty awesome. Can't wait.
Yeah, it'll be a good one.
Yeah. All right. Let's I just wanted to touch on that just because the lotteries just happened, but
yeah,
let's go on to some race results. The McDowell Mountain Frenzy was this weekend. That is an Aravaipa race in Fountain Hills, Arizona. And this one draws quite a bit of fast people. In the 50K, Devin Yanko won 4 hours and 14. Devin Yanko she's very well known, fast runner. And Natalie Horn and Kayla Josephine were second and third. Justin Grunwald won the men's 50K, another fast one. He did that in 3 hours and 33 minutes. Nick Curry, Jam Jam's brother, got second, 3 hours and 43. Continues his 2024 reign of terror with the shorter distance ultras. Bryce Brooks, 3 hours and 54. third. In the 50 miler, Ryan Becker won 7:11. Richard Wolfers second. Trent Robinette third. And for the women, Christina Randrup won the 50 in 8 hours and 26. And then
Katie Bolus.
She finished in third place overall.
Yeah.
Katie Bolus second. Emily went third. So that was McDowell Mountain. And Brazos Bend was this weekend. I always thought that race was in January for some reason, but I guess it's December. I'm pretty sure we covered that. So
feels like, yeah.
Have we been going a year? Maybe there was a fast performance at Brazos Bend or something.
That we went back and talked about it for some reason.
Oh, yeah. Remind me. I have to add something to our thing today. It's about the making nominations for Ultra Signups Awards.
Oh yeah.
That was like one of the first things that we covered when we started the show. So I'm just making myself a note. Okay. So yeah, Brazos Bend. Looks like we had Lindsay Dwyer ran. She won the women's race and finished second overall, 15 hours and 42. April Wu second, and Stephanie Malconian third. Theory Joe Frayne won the men's race, 15 hours and 40 minutes, and Buck Baker second, and Tug Bourne third. And this is where Brazos Bend was interesting this year. 3 women swept the overall podium in the 100K race. Chelsea Barr won outright in a course record time of 8 hours and 6 minutes. Amy Watson second, 10 hours 16. Linda Boring, 10 hours and 34. Then on the men's side, Nate Martin won in 11 hours. Hermes Nienwout second, 11:26, and Randy Horn third, 11:29. So
I think it's also really interesting on the note of the 100Ks, right? Like sticking with the 100Ks. Like, first off, Chelsea Barr destroyed that shit, right? Like 8:06.
Oh, like in 100K. Yeah, it is flat. It's flat, but
bro, that is fucking blistering.
Yeah,
like that is insane. And then I mean, like 2 hours and 15 minutes is what it was. Second place was behind her, right? Second place came in at 10:16.
Yeah,
so she beat second place by
2.5 hours.
Yeah, like dust in second place, and then 15 minutes back to third, dude. The first place man came in at 11. So he was 30 minutes behind third place, right?
3 hours from first.
3 hours from first. Dude, my girl had a fucking shower, a meal.
Right. That's right.
Multiple beers in her and was all the
and
way
maybe a nap.
and a power nap, dude.
Yeah.
Like that is fucking ridiculous. Like she was fucking cooking.
Yeah.
Like that is impressive as shit.
Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, and Brazos Bend is in Texas. It's flat. I believe it's a loop style course. The link's not working right now, but
dude, hold up. I just noticed something else. There's no way this can be right. I mean, I guess there is a way. Continuing on about how badass these women were that took the podium at the 100K. First place woman, 38 years old. Okay. Second place woman, 48 years old.
Wow.
Good sir, dare you guess how old third place woman was?
53.
How about a nice round 60?
Wow. That's awesome.
Dude. That is fucking dope. That is awesome.
And there was 88 finishers. So it wasn't like there was, 10 finishers or something.
No, dude. No. Like these 3 women, oh, by the way, 38, 48, and 60 went out there and just handled their fucking business.
Okay. So that's awesome, man. Like, it's unbelievable. So looking at this, the race last year was in January. That's why I remember covering it.
I wonder why they bumped it up or moved it back or whatever.
No, it's typically in the first or second weekend in December. But last year, for whatever reason, it got moved to January. So,
the other thing that always throws me off about this race is it's basically right outside of Houston. I mean, it's just a little south of Houston.
Yeah.
And so for some reason in my mind, I think of Bend National Forest. Like, I think of Bend, like, way out western Texas. Yeah. And I always look at, like, oh no, these are, like, this is like on the outskirts of Houston, essentially.
Yeah, it's 99.9% flat. The only hill is 10 feet.
10 feet. That is amazing.
Other than that, you'll be running on flat surfaces that move from hard crushed rock, soft hiking trails under tree canopy, and smooth horse trails. Conditions in December can have a mix of anything, but are traditionally great conditions for running. Brazos Bend is it's a state park just south of Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, congrats to the ladies that smoked the podium.
That is awesome. I love it.
Yeah, that is super cool. The Hitchcock Experience race. There's two reasons why I wanted to talk about this race. And one is because the name is cool. Like I mentioned before, if your race has a cool name, chances are we will talk about it.
We are suckers for a cool name.
But the other reason that I wanted to talk about it was that it's in Honey Creek, Iowa, and Casey Lichtig ran this race. And not only did she win for the women, but in the 50 mile, but she also took overall first place.
Yeah.
So 9 hours and 38 minutes, and she beat the second place, Nate Canton, 9 hours and 39. So in 43, so less than a minute, she got first place by less than a minute.
Ooh, that is good shit.
Yeah, only 52 seconds back. And the 100-miler at that event, Jody Seminole, won for the women, 24:16, and Jeffrey Pratt won for the men, 21:42. Tennessee Mile, okay? This is the next race I want to talk about. So the reason why I want to talk about this race is this is on the same course as this other race in the summer called the Mid-State Mile. Now, this is a very hard 1-mile loop on private property, and it goes it's 1.1 mile loop with 340 feet of climbing. So there's 2 monster climbs with fast runnable sections between them, a downhill section through the field to the start finish area. The course itself is an old logging road, so it's nice wide double track. And they say they clean up the course. So it's called the Murderer Mile. Okay. Now, I saw a documentary on the Mid-State Mile. I believe it was the Mid-State Mile. The Mid-State Mile, the one in the summer, is you have 20 minutes to complete this mile. So it's almost like a backyard ultra, right? So every 20 minutes you have to be on the starting line for the next mile. And it's not an easy 1.1 miles, dude. It's 340 feet of climbing.
I love the fact that it's 20 minutes to finish. It's like just a mile. Just go do a mile. Just a mile, 20 minutes.
That's right. And it came down, that documentary that I watched on it, like it was called One More Mile or something like that. And there's this Navy SEAL, this like super cocky Navy SEAL dude named Chad.
Yeah.
And he was just like, power of positive thinking. Like you can't beat me. You know, he would play mind games with people, but he was super smart in his strategy. Like he had that military experience, so like Navy SEAL experience, so he could just like go to sleep instantly, right?
Yeah.
Like just using those skills, those survival skills. But it was him and this other guy, and they battled forever. And and the Navy SEAL guy ended up winning. But it's a pretty cool concept anyway. But so this race is on the same course, and it's private property, in which the people that put on Mid-State Mile, I believe they own the property. So I'm sure they put on this race too. It's called the Tennessee Mile. And the Tennessee Mile has a bunch of different events. They have the 8-hour, the 6-hour, the 12-hour, the 24-hour, and the 40-hour. So whatever event you're in, you see how many laps you can do within that time. You don't have to finish, in 20 minutes or whatever. So it's more of a timed event, but not a flat, like, easy surface like most timed events are. So I just thought that was kind of cool. I just wanted to talk about that. Let's see if they talk about this one. I'll just go over results, like maybe first place from each of the events. So in 8-hour, there's only one person that did the 8-hour, Gabe Cross. He did 29.7 miles. So I don't know how many loops that is. In the 6-hour, you had quite a few people in the 6-hour, actually. I don't think anybody really wants to run super long ultras in December, but Sean O'Brien, he did 28.6 miles in the 6 hours. And for the women, Jennifer Wenneker, 23.1. In the 12-hour, Jeff Woody was first in 42.9. And Amy Richards for the women in 36.3 miles. 24-hour, Jason Dolan, 78.1 miles. And Fawn Perky for the women, 45.1 miles. And then the 40-hour event, which did have 22 finishers. Troy Dolger, 101.2 miles. And Alyssa Clausen, 55 miles for the women. So
40 hours. Good God.
Yeah, 40 hours on that 1 mile, 1.1 mile loop. And that's, that's a lot. Like, let's see, the winner did 101.2 miles. So do the math here. 101.2 divided by 1.1. That's 92 loops times, what did I say, 300 and...
it's funny because I just read it because I was reading
340 feet of climbing.
Yeah.
So that's 31,280 feet of climbing.
Yeah.
In that 100 miles, 101 mile.
And it's a weird thing in the fact that it's like, isn't it weird how I feel like it's weird how like that amount of climb, even though it's that many thousand feet over 100, that would feel very compact still. You know what I mean? It would feel like you're just constantly going up, like because it's on that little loop. Like you would just never have a good like sustained like I can stretch up. No, like it's just like right back into a climb like that. I just can't.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't wrap my head around how bad that would suck.
I'll send you the link for the last mile or just one more mile. You have to watch this thing. I'll put a link to it in the show notes too, so other people can watch it. But pretty cool. Ray Miller 50-50 was over the weekend. This is a quite a classic race.
I say, hasn't this been around for like a really I feel like this race has been around for a minute, right?
A long time, and and so since 2012, this Ray Miller 50-50 has been going on, and this is in Malibu. It's in the coastal mountains in Malibu, in Point Mugu State Park. I ran Sean O'Brien there, which is in a similar area, and there is some really great views of the coast, and it's a lot of climbing out there too. And I was saying, or in the notes I put, I'm glad that they got this race in last weekend, because I think Monday a fire broke out in Malibu near Pepperdine University.
Well, that's what I was trying to look for, because on the Ultramag it says it's now returned. Maybe it means
right. There was a fire.
Returned?
There was a fire there. I'm thinking in 2018.
Yeah,
there was a fire on that course.
Yeah.
I don't know if this current fire is. Let's see. I'm seeing where this is in relation to Pepperdine. But there's like celebrities that live in Malibu have already had to evacuate, like Cher and somebody else. I can't remember.
Nah.
But anyway, so the Ray Miller 50-50, the 50K, Ty Myers got first for the men, 4 hours and 26, and Catherine Leclerc first for the women, 5 hours and 5. And then in the 50 miler, Dominic Layfield first, 8 hours 37, and Ram Kumar got first for the women, 10 hours and 6 minutes. Okay. And then, another course that I threw in for the sheer fact of it having a cool name. And this is the first year running of this race, the Festivus 50 miler trail run. And this is in Middleburg, Florida.
Oof.
I guess it's a non-technical loop, 4.15 mile flat, and filled with longleaf pines, palmettos, and various wildlife. 2 nice footbridges. So sounds like a pretty comfy course.
Doesn't look bad. I mean, look, it's in December. You can run in shorts and a t-shirt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. 29 finishers in the 50 miler. Ethan Cohen first, 7 hours and 24 minutes.
It is interesting to me, of all the races that we talk about in Florida, and like I was actually talking to a coworker of mine about a 100 miler that goes around a lake in Florida, because it's like a perfect 110 miles around this lake, and they have a trail. Yeah, and so
that's insane.
Yeah, and so we were talking about it, that lake, by the way, is like the 7th largest in the U.S. or something weird. Anyways, we were talking about different ultras in Florida, and I mean they never have big turnouts. Like, it's interesting to me, like there's 29 runners in this one, right? And like the one that's around the lake legitimately had like 11 idiots that ran it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think
the scene is. I think there's a lot of people that do ultras that live in Florida, but the scene is not that good, because in the summer it's almost impossible to run. And
can't even imagine.
And the sheer fact that there's not too many great places to to run. I mean, you have like the Florida Trail, which there's some races on. You have, some other areas. There is one popular ultra in Florida. It's a road race. It's the Keys 100.
Yeah.
That's pretty popular, but that sounds miserable because the traffic on that road going down to the Keys is terrible.
It'd be insane. It'd be absolutely so dangerous. It'd be ridiculous.
And somebody got hit in that race this last.
I think you're right. It's kind of like
they went to the hospital too. I can't remember the outcome of that. But
it's kind of like the Florida Key race is kind of like the U.S. version of the Greek one.
The Spartathlon.
The Spartathlon.
It totally is, dude.
Yeah. It's like the exact same.
Yeah. Katie Hoover got second at the Festivus 50, she got second overall, but first place female at the Festivus 50 miler in 8 hours and 3 minutes. And they also had a 37.5 miler in William Gotham. Cool last name, by the way. Well, I just watched the first season of Penguin on Max. So good. So dark. Good. Holy shit, was that dark?
Oh, dude. Just wait. Oh my God. That we binged that thing in no time. We're done with it. I
watched it twice because
it is so good.
Because when I went to visit with my friends in Florida, I had plenty of time on that long plane ride. So I watched half of it on the way there and the other half on the way home. And then I'm like, Jessica, you gotta watch this. And like, I'll watch it with you. So I watched it all again with her in like a weekend.
So good.
And Lee Starling was second for the men. Annette Puckett was first for the women in the 37.5 miler in 8 hours and 41. So, one last race that I wanted to touch on was the Last Chance 50K. And this is in McClellanville, South Carolina. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is not necessarily because of the race, is because of the Charlotte, the costume chick, had reached out and told us about this race director, Kayla Fitzgerald. So she took over Endurance Race, this company called Endurance Races, which is one of the only ultra running race companies in the Charleston area, Charleston, South Carolina. And Chad Hoffa ran that company, and he wasn't going to do it anymore. And Kayla Fitzgerald used to run all the races and she was like, she didn't want to see those races die, so she took over and renamed it as Palmetto Ultras. So I guess Kayla is a dietitian by trade, but if you live in the Low Country, or if you're traveling there, you should check out her races, Palmetto Ultras. All right, let's get into these FKTs. I feel like we're
a couple dope ones.
Yeah, for sure. Let me get this pulled up. So the first one, and Remy, what's his name? So earlier this summer, Remy Bonnet took this FKT from Jim Walmsley, and we talked about that kind of at length. And this is FKT on the Mount Tam hill climb, which I'm kind of obsessed with, just because I ran Mount Tam all the time, and I've done this hill climb a few times, and it's pretty awesome. It's it's 3.23 miles, 2,470 feet of climb. And it starts in downtown Mill Valley, and like literally the first mile and a quarter is on a paved road that just goes up. And then you hit the single track. It's just super steep. It goes straight up for a while. And then you hit these switchbacks. and then you go on these switchbacks, and then you get up to the Mount Tam Peak area, and then you have to do a hand over fist rock climb up to the summit and tap the door for the clock to stop. And we've talked about it on this before, but I haven't been able to really like show
my
video
window from this couch that I'm on looks straight at Mount
Free Trail actually did a video. Could you hear that, Johnny?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So Free Trail actually did this 1 minute video, and I just want to play it because it's really good and it gives great drone footage and overhead shots of the hill climb. So yeah, and Anna Gibson, the reason we're talking about this, Anna Gibson just set the FKT for the women on the Mount Tam hill climb. She beat the previous women's FKT by 77 seconds. She finished in 35 minutes and 46 seconds. Again, this is 3.23 miles with almost 2,500 feet of climbing, and it's tough. So, but this video does a really good job of explaining the route. And Anna, by the way, is a Mill Valley resident, and she looks at the peak of Mount Tam, I believe, from where she lives. So
from her living room.
Yep. So without further ado, here's the Free Trail.
My window from this couch that I'm on looks straight at Mount Tam. Every morning I get up and I make coffee and I sit down before I go to train and I look at Mount Tam. The route's hard because there are a lot of different sections. Like, it's not like you just grind for 3 miles and 2,500 feet and there you are, and it's done. Very complicated because you start in downtown Mill Valley, it's on a paved road, and then you hit a single track trail. So you kind of just have to be like very vigilant, just like jumping from one mindset and like one rhythm to another as the terrain changes. And then as you get to the very top, there's a couple minutes of like kind of more legitimate scrambling where you're using your hands. And there is a tradition of touching the door on the fire lookout when you get up to the top. It is kind of a fun, silly thing. Like, you get up to the top, and even if I'm by myself, I'm like, have to touch the door, and I go touch it.
That's funny because I always tap the brick next to the door. You're supposed to tap the door though. And on my last run at Mount, what's that?
That trail that she's going up, like you can see.
It's rocky.
It's nuts, man. Like, it's
super really technical.
Yeah.
Until you get to the switchbacks, it's not too technical, but your legs are just blowed out by the time you get to those switchbacks. And the switchbacks are the trail's very narrow. There's a lot of like shrubbery on either sides. But yeah, look, man, she did it. 35:46. So very cool. If you're listening on a podcast and not watching us on YouTube, I'll put a link to this Free Trail video in the show notes. So I'll have a link to that, and then hopefully a link to that Mid-State Mile video as well. Congrats to Anna setting that FKT. I mean, this is an FKT, the Mount Tam hill climb. I just want to go over some of the names that have done this before, right? So Remy Bonnet set the record this summer for the men, and he took it from Walmsley. Patty O'Leary, Drew Holman, Matt Seidel, Alex Varner, Nick Handel, Ricky Gates, Dylan Bowman, Scott Trumer, and Anna Gibson, who just set the record. Zach Miller, John Ray, Jeffrey Stern, Chris Mako. That dude's cool too. He hasn't really been in the spotlight much, but he has some really cool videos. He was a really good runner back in the day. Yeah. Anyways, the list just goes on and on about the elite ultra runners that have done the Mount Tam hill climb. Seems like every time they're in town, they do
So
it.
much. It's like a rite of passage almost. Like if you're in that area, you've got to do it.
Yeah, for sure. The other FKT I wanted to talk about was something called it's new to me. It's called the Mason-Dixon Trail, and it's in Pennsylvania, which it doesn't go in these other states, so I'm not sure why in parentheses it says Delaware, Maryland, Pennsylvania, because it's all in Pennsylvania. So
No. It dips down into Maryland. It
does
dips.
it?
Yeah. It hits Maryland.
Oh, it does cross the border there.
Yeah.
Well, where is it?
Like,
but Delaware is pretty far away from.
no, that's Wilmington is Delaware.
Oh, down here. Okay.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Okay.
You barely.
Whatever sinus thing I got going on is messing with my brain. Never mind. It is in 3 states. Okay. Okay. I couldn't wrap my head around that, but it makes sense now. Idiot. It's a 193-mile long trail. Part of it's on the Appalachian Trail, and there is a fairly decent amount of road in this. The guy that set the FKT, Bob Stewart, he did it, and in his write-up, he said he wasn't going to do it originally because 35 to 50% of the total mileage is paved, and he was concerned about the pounding it was going to take, doing that many. But he ended up doing it. He has a nice write-up of each day, and excuse me, on the FKT website, and he did it in unsupported 3 days, 3 hours, and 47 minutes. I will say there's been a lot of activity on this FKT route this year.
I mean, within the last 5 months, right? Like Philip Perkins just set the self-supported back in October, right?
Yeah.
And then roll back a little bit more. Jessica set the women's supported back in August.
Yep.
So yeah, it's been the one thing I was trying to the thing I was trying to kind of look at real fast. I was trying to skim the FKT. Which way are you going from? Are you going from west to east or east to west?
He started west. He talked about how he left work the day before Thanksgiving, rode his bike to the trains or to train or bus station.
Yeah.
And then he took a train to Harrisburg.
The first roller coaster I ever rode in my life was in Hershey, Pennsylvania, which is relatively close to where we're talking about right now, by the way.
Yep. Hershey is just north of the beginning parts up by Harrisburg there.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's 199 miles, right? So it's not like we're poo-pooing this.
Yeah.
But your vertical gain is only 19,000 feet. And it looks like it has some fair descent to it. It looks, you know what I mean? Because you're dropping from, out there along the Appalachian, you're dropping from out there. You're dropping down to that river. And you're bringing it down. So you know what I mean? Just the way water works, you're working downward all the way down to kind of the Chesapeake kind of area.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? And then going back up toward Philly. I bet that is a really pretty run, actually, coming down along that river and everything. I bet it's a really pretty run.
Yeah. Well, this guy got 23,000 feet, Philip, 23,327 feet of climb. I'm trying to see what his descent was. Actually, wonder if I can sign in.
He got bonus miles too, because look, he had 219 miles. He got
Yeah,
some
I'm
phone.
sure his GPS, like if he
Yeah,
was sleeping or whatever, his GPS would
still moving around a little bit.
yeah. Let me see here if I can get the descent on that. Elevation. Oh, look, his calories was almost burned was almost the same as his climbing. 23,947. Um,
That's awesome.
yeah, let's see here. Where I think you have to use the phone app to see the additional
Yeah,
analysis. But yeah,
it is.
anyway, I'm sure it's
It's
similar.
it's kind of a cool FKT though. I've never heard that one before. You know what I mean? It's a cool one.
Yeah, Mason Dixon Trail. I'd like
Yeah,
to like see parts of that. It's a cool area of Pennsylvania. All that down along that river. It's
yeah.
pretty cool. So, okay, that was the other FKT that we wanted to discuss. Let's see here. All right, let's get into some news. Tara Dower signs, which they're saying might be a record-breaking deal with Ultra, the shoe company. I wear Ultras. So now maybe the price of shoes will go up a little more. No, just kidding.
I mean, maybe they'll start making them higher quality again. I mean,
that in a dream world.
yeah,
Tara totally deserves it though. She
yeah.
did the unthinkable with her FKT on the Appalachian Trail this summer. You know, she set the overall FKT on the Appalachian Trail. But they believe that, well, so she signed a confidentiality agreement, but they think that she negotiated a contract between $100,000 and $250,000 per year.
I just love how in some world, some person who wrote that's like, 100,000, $250,000, same shit.
Yeah.
Like what, dude? The
Yeah.
difference between $100K a year and $250,000 a year is
That's significant.
substantial. Oh, I don't know, roughly. Like it's just like,
Yeah.
what a fucking difference. It's just a weird thing.
Yeah.
It's literally 2.5 times the amount from the other one. You know what I mean? Like
that is a super wide range.
it's just such a funny range in my head.
But she will be able to focus on running though.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where this goes because, I was reading some comments earlier. People are like, I wonder what Walmsley's doing with Hoka, and it'd be cool to see how much money elite ultra runners are bringing down. I mean, compared to other sports, it's like chump change. It's like small potatoes.
It's nothingness. Yeah.
But yeah, I think ultra running's big enough to where having good elite athletes as pimping your brand is it's pretty important these days, because it's going to drive sales for sure. So,
100%. Yeah.
So yeah, maybe you'll start seeing some bigger contracts being signed. Who knows? I hope so. I mean, it's elite ultra runners. They deserve to, get
They deserve
paid.
to eat.
That's right. We can't expect them to hold a real job and train at the same time. Anyways, congrats to Tara. That's well deserved. Okay. So, we kind of covered AJW's articles about the low-key races. Well, he's doing another cool series that he's just starting. It's called the Legendary Aid Station series. And I think this is really cool because there are definitely some aid stations that are memorable. There's aid stations that really stand out for certain reasons. Maybe it's like type of food that they had, or they were cooking up something like, oh my god, I can't believe that aid station was like roasting a whole hog or something. Like or they had like a 5-star chef, like whatever the reason is, they had like really cool themed costumes. But anyways, so for everybody listening, if you know of any of these cool aid stations, AJW is taking nominations for his article series, and there's certain criteria that he's set, 3 criteria for what makes an aid station legendary. 1 is the aid station is unique. 2 is that it creates a memorable experience, and 3 is well established. So yeah, so if anybody knows of that, you can go to the I Run Far website, and you can submit the information. It's all listed in the article. The deadline for nominations is December 31st, though. So if you're going to nominate, get it in. Also, go ahead.
I was just, obviously you have a Western States one up there right now. It'll be funny how many Western State ones it gets tossed in there and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, he does love him some Western States, which
he does.
I get it. Also, he always does a beer of the week at the end of his articles, and his beer of the week from this article was Great Lakes Brewing in Cleveland for their Christmas ale.
That Christmas ale is, I mean, like people go ham for that thing. Like it
Obsessed.
Is wild. Yeah,
Obsessed.
It is wild how much. And you know what's funny? And like this just might be me being an Ohio beer snob. It's not even their best beer. Like it's not even their best beer. Like it's like
right.
I think their most award-winning beer they have is that Dortmunder that they have.
Dortmunder, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of that type of beer, really.
Yeah, I think it's one of the most. That thing. But yeah, Great Lakes, man. Also, Great Lakes, just a good people. Like that. Like that's a bunch of good people that trying to do the right thing on all fronts.
Yeah,
that's a good company to support if you're going to support a brewery. It's the largest privately owned brewery in Ohio by a margin. But man, oh man, they have been groundbreaking and at the forefront of social activity.
They were doing craft beer before craft beer was a thing. I mean, same with the Mommy Bay Brewing Company. I remember when I was in college, some friends of ours were going to Toledo to go to Mommy Bay. They called it microbrewery.
Yeah.
And they would bring it back in a growler, and I'd try it. I'd be like, "Oh, that's horrible!" Like
I just had me
Coors Light.
Speaking of Mommy, I just had me a Buckeye beer. Yeah, I just had me a Buckeye beer a couple of days ago. As a matter of fact, I'm like, good old Mommy.
Buckeye beer, I think that's been brewed since the early 1900s or something crazy like that.
Is that Mommy Brewing that's in Toledo, in downtown Toledo? That one is like it's like an old factory. It's like multi-floored. Is that like the OG? Like is that the one that Mommy's been working out of for like ever and a day?
I think so. Yeah, Mommy Bay Brewing.
Yeah, that building's cool as fuck.
Oh, it is.
That building is super cool.
It's
really
very
cool. Stained glass work.
Yeah, and it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, in like an industrial area there by the bridge. Like
not a great area.
No.
Like I feel like the last time Jen and I were there, we actually heard gunshots leaving.
Yeah.
Like Toledo, I love you.
Well, if next time you're in Toledo area, if you do go to Maumee, the city of Maumee, I highly recommend stopping into the Village Idiot and getting some pizza.
Yes,
Chaz can attest to that.
Yeah,
it's great pizza.
We have at least one more big breaking news, right? We got to get to.
Yeah. Well, the one I was just gonna say is the Air Vipa has expanded into Southern California. I think they have two races that are in Southern California this year in 2025. I mean, Air Vipa continues to grow. Now this is in Southern California. It's maybe out by like Big Bear area. You know, so it's
because they
working their way towards the Arizona border.
Yeah, they just acquired the 2 in Colorado. 2?
That's right.
They just acquired.
I think there was a series. I don't remember. Was it 2?
I
can't remember.
2 to 3. Yeah, it was a series. They just picked those up.
Yeah.
And now they have the Cali. So
that's right. And if you look at their events, just in 20, you can see in 2025. I mean, the list is just
it's nuts,
crazy. And
so the California one that I found is July 19th. It's Harding Hustle is California. I'm assuming that's July 19th. I don't know where Harding Hustle is or July 19th, bro. I cannot imagine that will be a cool day. And I can't imagine that's not super hot.
It's in Majeska Canyon, which it's actually pretty close to where their other race is. It's in the mountains, so the other race is in Silverado, I believe.
Yeah, that's no moon. Moon.
It's in the mountains. It's probably still going to be hot, but not as hot as if you were down in the valley, I think.
Oh man, that Kilkenny looks amazing.
Oh, race or
it's called Kilkenny Ridge Race. That's no moon.
Oh, okay.
Wait, what race is this? That just popped up. I don't know, dude. It's Air Vipa. They have so many different. You click on a race of theirs, it takes you about 50 different places.
Dude, there's so many races.
Yeah,
and you know some of these races have like 900 plus people, like Black Canyon, and you know, between all the races at Cocodona, you have hundreds of people, and a lot of their races are super popular. So they're really killing it, man. Like Jam has created a monster.
Yeah.
And I was just listening to a podcast about with the race director of Cocodona 250, and you know he used to do race directing for Ragnar, which you know is like super long, so was good at getting permits and all this other stuff. But yeah, he was talking like, you know, it's gonna keep changing and keep getting better. And
here's the all right. This will be a super nerdy thing, and like this is going to be a you know, only people who's made it an hour and 20 minutes into this will hear me go on this little tangent here. This will be a thing where this might be a catching me in a moment kind of thing. But here's where Air Vipa's got to be careful, right? Is they are largely a volunteer organization, right?
Yeah.
Like Colt was saying that was like this is a ton of volunteering stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's all good and great. The bad thing about that is you got a bunch of volunteers.
Oh, your audio cut out.
Yeah, my headset just died.
Okay.
You have a bunch of volunteers doing a bunch of things, and it leads to like goofy little errors, right? It leads to goofy little mistakes. To prove my point, go ahead and scroll down to September 20th, the That's No Moon race on the website there.
Yeah.
All right, click that link.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
so it takes you to a race that's actually happening way up. So you're trying to look at a race that's in California. This is taking you to a race that's up in New Hampshire, and is 5 days sooner. You know what I mean? Like it's silly little things like that like they'll have to be careful, because as you grow at this exponential rate, are you also maintaining a good quality product? That's really how hard it is.
And at what point do you have to start paying volunteers, right? When your race company gets so big, is it right that you're I don't know. It's ethical. It's maybe an ethical thing, but
it's a weird thing where you keep asking, hey, I need you to do a little bit more. I need you to do a little bit more.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I'm just over there like stacking loaves of bread on top of one another. like, hey, man, I know you're already helping me out so much. Do you mind helping me out a little bit more? You know, it's like, whoa, like.
And I love volunteering for, like lower key race companies and, ones that, but like, am I going to go volunteer for UTMB? No. No, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I'm not going to. Yeah.
And then the last thing, and we'll get more into this as time goes on, but it's almost time for ultra signups, award categories.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the, like the weirdest, this is called the Keep Trail Running Weird Awards. And there's most inspirational, best pacer, favorite trail weirdo, best race day fail, and best dressed. We covered this pretty extensively when we first started the show about a year ago. Yeah. And it was fun. And that's how we found Costume Chick, Charlotte. Do that. And some of the others. Was it Chad Ultra?
Yep, Chad Ultra, and then, a couple of them.
Yes, and Tara Dower. Like, I didn't really know about Tara Dower until that, and like she had the cactus sticking in her head.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like it's so funny how people kind of like the origin story of some of the folks. You know what I mean? Like, it's really interesting.
Yeah. So, anyways, looks like nominations are closed. I thought. Okay. Yeah.
Voting. You gotta get to the voting then.
Yeah. So nominations closed December 10th, yesterday. But voting opens December 17th and closes December 27th. So next week, our show's on the 18th. So we will know we will know who the nominees are. So hopefully we can go over that on the next episode. So, all right. Well, we've probably lost everybody by now, but
and it started raining. I got to take the garbage out in the rain now here. Like, freezing rain too. It's not getting hitting hard out there.
Man, be careful walking on your driveway,
dude. It's hard to see some chimney fall and bust my ass on, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, all right, folks. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks.